Are you and your spouse considering a shared custody arrangement where each of you have the children 50% of the time? If you are, calculating child support or agreeing upon child support can be a bit of a challenge because there's really no clear guidance from New York State or the courts on exactly how to do that. The history of child support in New York, for me, goes back to the 1980s. And when I started practicing in Syracuse, New York State was really a needs and ability state, the needs of the children and the ability to pay. And there was very little uniformity throughout New York State on how child support was determined. So in 1989, really at the urging of the federal government, New York enacted the Child Support Standards Act. That went into effect September 1989. There was an $80,000 cap on combined parental income. That cap was increased in legislation in 2010 to $130,000. And that cap increases every 2 years based upon inflation, every January of every odd numbered year. But the funny thing is that the uniformity that was the goal back in 1989 has really been lost or displaced because from judge to judge, from court to court, county to county, different judges use different caps. And when you get into the arena of a 50-50 arrangement, there's really very little guidance, but there are some options. And the law talks in terms of applying the Child Support Standards Act. The parent with the greater income is the parent who should be paying child support. And so if you're in court, the likely outcome is that the parent with the greater income pays child support with little regard for the 50-50 access time between the parents. But if you're trying to work out a settlement in mediation or collaborative law or just in some settlement venue, then the options would include what the courts would do as number one. They would also include something that I've seen parties do quite often, which is they will come up with a list of expenses, 5, 10, 15 different expenses relating to the children, and they'll agree to share those expenses in some proportion. Other options, I mean, that there are really variations on that option in terms of sharing of expenses and identifying the children's expenses. Another option would be to simply agree upon a number after analyzing the different circumstances, and that's the child support number, not necessarily the child support guidelines number. And the difficulty is that the New York State Legislature hasn't really given us guidance on this topic. With more and more cases involving 50-50 sharing of time with the children, it would be my hope that the New York State Legislature takes this up and comes up with a more consistent way of addressing it, not just looking at which parent has the greater income, but looking at the various aspects of raising a child and the fact that each parent will have expenses in their home 50% of the time. So that's a lot for a short video. I hope you're still listening, and please feel free to call me if you have any questions. Ken Novenstern at Fredman, Baken, and Novenstern. I look forward to talking with you.